What a smooth transition. Why, hello? Every time I need to do this. Video capture device. Hold on. Hold on. I'll take my clothes off. I'll do it for money. More importantly, though, how do I get transform, select image, transition? Properties. Configure video. Oh, more left. Yes. Enhance. 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 No, okay, this is all right. It's all right. Could be better, but it's all right. All right. What's up here? Reddy's wallet, good. Solid stash nipples down. All right, excellent. Terrifying, meaning that's fine. $100 donation. I'll definitely do it for $100 donation. Consider me scared and horny. Please keep your money. Do I? Okay, so first of all, I listen. This is the post-mortem stream of the game I ran the other day. People who may or may not have watched it, that's fine. I'll do a summary real quick. But more importantly, the audio sounded terrible on my end, which was very sad. And how do I sound now? Like, this microphone should be so good that I sound like I'm talking to you, basically in the same room. And it sounded like I was talking over the telephone. I think I want that to go that way. No. This... Ow, fuck up. All my players are here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so I sounded bad. How do I sound now? Is it the fault of... What? What's the software I'm using? Streamlabs. Yeah, Streamlabs. Who would want to talk to you? No, but I have to give a quick summary. If this sounds fine, then I don't know what happened last time, and that's unfortunate, because I don't know how to fix that. Here, let me turn the gain down, because I'm wondering if it's only causing me more problems. In the future, my intention for the stream... Here, I'm even louder! My intention for the stream originally was that I was going to be streaming kind of like this, where I'm just here, and I was going to talk to the audience occasionally, and I would mute myself on Discord so that I could then go and commentate on how stupid the players are being. Or I could set up little notes to show to the audience and whatnot. But I didn't really get around to that because there were so many other things I was dealing with, like writing the story, so I didn't get the chance to do it. Here, it looks weird for some reason. I don't know what it is. It looks very gold. I sound slightly muffled. What is that? Why is it doing that? How about now? I just turned off the desktop audio. It's echoey. Snarling. Excuse DM, do you use small tables for everyone? I use the concept of tables. Do you have compressors and noise gates and shit on? I have one filter on. It's a noise gate. Maybe I should just remove that. Alright, I turned off the only thing I had, which is a noise gate. How do I sound now? Is this better? I sound slightly muffled. Yeah, it was. I thought New Year was special small table. No, I use that for... If I do any online gaming, I want to make the feeling of people, like, around a table as much as possible and actually, like, talking to each other, and short of getting everybody to have video phones. Because I'm not going to force people to appear in video if they don't want to. But I will say, like, oh, I'm going to call the table, not the voice chat. I'm going to call, like, this and that and the other thing. More mundane, realistic stuff. There's no fan. Oh, it's the sound of my... Yeah, it's the sound of my computer. Yeah, see, the noise gate was just stopping the computer sound from happening. Yeah, I don't know what happened to it. I sound fine on Necropolis streams. I was just watching one of the clips just like literally a few minutes ago, and it was like crisp, clean, beautiful. and so it doesn't really make any sense. Oh, blinding! Worse. Alright, I'll put the noise gate back on. Filter type, noise suppression, noise gate. There. There, I put the stream back on noise gate, so. And my whole goddamn career. Talk me through it. There's nothing really talk me through. I think it's Streamlabs' fault, because every other stream that I've done that I sounded crisp, beautiful, and clean on is original default OBS. And as soon as I started using Streamlabs, and now I every recording I've seen myself using it, it just sounds strange. Oh, you know what it is? It's this fucking microphone. In this fucking camera. This goddamn camera has a microphone in it. I think it's fucking shit up. Because it wants to use both of them, and I hate it. I have it set to use custom audio device Yeti stereo microphone, so I don't know why it would be. So. I know it's the same. It's literally the same company. It's the same programmers. It's the same everything, so I don't know why it would be a bit different. But I guess I could say that then the fact that I plugged the... You! Because I plugged the webcam in, now it's not working properly. Because it has an audio device on it. Which I don't like. Like, for example, I'm about to mute my Yeti microphone, like hard mute it, and if you can still hear me, then that means it's picking me up on that microphone as well. So I just muted me. I muted me. This is not... It's picking up nothing, but I have a feeling you can still hear me. I feel like that it's override, and like you can... That's overriding my Yeti microphone. Yeah, so it's terrible. No, Blondie, I need to learn how to do these things myself. Or at least in a way that is understandable to me. It is the webcam. Yeah, the webcam's terrible. I don't know why the webcam has an audio thing in it. Maybe if I just take it. No, I'm gonna do a lot of horrible things to it though for a second. I'm gonna see if there's an actual override switch on it. So I'm gonna turn the audio. I'm gonna turn the. I'm taking me away as I move the microphone around because I'm looking on top of. Hello. Oh, this is probably terrible. You can sense it. Oh, the humanity. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's... Alright, maybe... No, it's this... It's the goddamn microphone. In this goddamn webcam. I'm gonna try and vor the microphone. And if that doesn't work... There's nothing else I can do. I guess my only question is, am I being heard through both? And that's what the fucky thing is? I'm very annoyed that my fancy microphone is being overridden by the shitty Logitech camera that I bought at like Best Buy on sale at one point or another. Video capture device. Why are you picking up audio? Stop picking up audio. If I turn the gain down to like 0, is that visual gain or is that audio gain? I don't know. Whisper. Oh, the whisper. Headset required. Whisper. Oh man. Did I mute it? Did it stop? Is it dead now? Salty just can't help himself. Why can't you type it? Why can you say it but you can't type it? I'm right here. You're looking at me. I don't mind talking to Blondie to fix this. It's just that you can't stay on the stream. Like, this stream is supposed to be the post-mortem, and I gotta kick your ass out afterwards. So I have to kill you instantly for your hubris. I've been streaming for like 3 years now. You'd think I would understand how to do it. Of course, that is the first time anybody's using a... What are these things called? An eyeball. A video eyeball. In my immediate vicinity. Output direct wave out. Hello? Hello? Just so you guys know what I'm looking at, I am looking at the video capture device settings, and nowhere in here is there like pick up audio. It also works like a microphone. I'm sorry, a speakers. I'm gonna listen to you. Hello? Hello? No, I'm going crazy. Alright, I'm getting in the voice chat. Hold on. Oh, I've done something terrible. I need to change the source type. Is that what it is? You disgust me and fill me with dread. Hold on. Don't say anything. Don't do it. Let's see here. Let me put him in the hot seat. Hold on. Salty acquired. I said hold on. I don't know what you weren't doing. You were a fool. Yes. No, well, editor, what?
Yes, where you have the 3 tabs. Yeah. Yeah, the 3. You have like sources, mixer, and then whatever.
Yeah, I have. Yes. I do studio mode, but yeah. So I have like 2 screens of like me. So.
Yeah. Okay. So that's yeah. Okay. But that doesn't matter. What matters is mixer tab. Show me what you have on mixer right now.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I'm hate to disappoint you. It's the desktop audio bar, which wibble wobbles when you speak, and then below that is mic/aux, which wibble wobbles when I speak, and then below that is video capture device, which is muted and has been muted this whole time.
Question.
So I don't know how the webcam
is the microphone/aux. Was that the default one that you have set up?
Yeah, that's the one I've been using forever.
Well, was that the one that was defaulted though? Like, was that the one that did you have to set it up yourself, or did you default it?
A default? I mean, that it's default. I don't understand. I don't know how I could change it. It's just what it was already there.
Yeah, no, you have to change it because okay. So here's the thing.
Change it. Wow.
You sound fine on Discord.
I do, yeah, but something's fucking up the stream.
Discord knows that it's only picking up your actual microphone.
All right, look in your sources and tell me what if you have the mic/aux there.
No, the sources are just visual.
Okay, there's your first issue. So you're gonna mute the fuck out of that mic/aux.
We're learning so much. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Now you're gonna add a new source. Audio input capture. Make a new source. Yep. No, not output. No, input. Audio input capture. Input capture. Yes. Don't select any of those pre-existing sources. Don't. All right, just make a new source. Make new source. Name it whatever you want. Yes. And then it's going to say add existing source or add new source. New source. Okay, so you don't already have. Okay, so yeah, so add new source. Name it whatever you want. Yeah, do not click default. Click your microphone, blue snow, like whatever, right? Do not use device timestamps. Do not have that checked. Hit done. All right, now you're gonna have that shit, like existing. Hold on. It should be existing, and that means it should also be showing up in your mixer now. Whatever you named it should also be there. Yeah.
It doesn't work on stream yet, Salty. He's still muted on
Okay,
stream.
so the yeah. You think?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe,
Anyways,
I don't know. I gotta wait for Chad to tell me.
The reason why it's not showing up is because you have it in studio mode and you haven't transitioned.
Yeah, I just clicked transition now, and I'm waiting the 10 seconds for chat to respond to me. Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah.
Anyways, now what you want to do?
I'm so quiet. Yeah, now I have to play with gain.
Yeah, now you need to right-click that item.
Right-click that item.
Whatever you have it named, mic,
audio
whatever.
input device.
And you're gonna add filters. Are you just gonna click on filters?
Yes.
And you're gonna pull up filters, and you're gonna add yourself a noise gate and a compressor.
A compressor?
Yes.
I don't know if I agree with that. I agree with noise gate. I don't know if I agree with compressor.
It's just a neater way to what is it? Add gain, honestly, than the gain option.
Oh, I see.
Fight him.
I
think Salty. I think you should trust Salty.
Fight me.
Yeah. Hey, already the sound is very clear now. So I mean.
Yeah.
Well, how do I? Okay. Well, then how do I gain? I need more power.
Well, you're gonna add a compressor.
Yeah. Oh, I feel so compressed right now.
Yep. Well, do the noise gate. Do whatever you want with like attack time, hold time, and release, and all that.
I'll play with that later.
And the threshold and all that.
Gain switch on my microphone. I don't even know if it's necessary, to be honest.
Don't touch it on the microphone.
I'm gonna fiddle with it so hard.
And then I usually have while I do mainly use it for gain, I also have like ratios and for the threshold and the attack and release on the compressor.
All right.
Do you just want to copy what I have?
What's at least your? How do you? I want the loud. I'm not worried about the attack and release. I'm worried about the out. Is that output gain? Is that what I'm looking at?
Output gain. Yep. Yeah. I have it on 20.
Yeah, 20 decibel. I don't feel that's necessary for me. We'll see. I don't know if I'm that quiet. I'll start with 8 and work my way up. How about that?
And if it does make you louder, what you can always just do is just mess with the actual audio of the mic in the mixer settings, just like the slider, right?
Yeah. Right now that's just on. Ooh, it's so much louder now. I feel like this is probably worse.
Well, no. If you do that, then you can just because what I do is because it adds the because whenever I talk, it's definitely not quiet, right? But I have my mic. Well, I have the gain by like 20 decibels. I also have my mic down by about like the total mic by negative 23.5 decibel. So in general, I'm actually quieter. But it makes my voice more clear and whatnot. That's why you would want that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, they're saying your mic is delayed, and what you can do with that, if it's delayed by, if the audio is slower than the, what is it called?
Video.
Slower than the video. What you need to do is the video faster if your webcam faster than the actual display, or if that's on time and it's the audio. But what you can do is in your mixer, you go to the mixer settings, and
mixer,
the little cogwheel next to it.
Yeah.
And then you have a sync offset. Right?
Yeah.
Depending on how far apart it is.
We're just gonna have to start eyeballing it, huh?
Yep.
Yep.
Right. And unfortunately, you better have studio mode off, or you're gonna have to transition every single time.
I know.
You make
Hold
a
on.
change.
Milliseconds is like thousandths of seconds, right?
Yes.
So I want to start at like 500 if it's half a second off.
For example, my when I set up my Switch streaming, right? Because of my Elgato, I was like pretty behind. So I actually had to make about a width offset of for both my mic and for the Discord audio of about 1010 milliseconds.
All right.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start with 500.
500. Okay.
Call it quits.
All right. Do that, and then basically
Then
wait.
we'll see if it's synced.
Yeah. You can see if they say something.
Hello, everyone. Is my lip syncing with the way that I'm talking?
Just
the sound seems to work.
3, 2, 1, sync. Like say sync and clap at the same time. Please make it easier for us. I don't want to have to read your lips.
No, fine. Well, I mean, what? You still have to read my lips anyway. What the fuck are you talking about? All right, 3, 2, 1, clap.
Yeah.
Clapping. No. The answer is no. Okay. Well, is it more than? Needs more power.
I would assume that you might be about 7 seconds behind, because any sort of external input that isn't just audio is going to be kind of behind.
Okay. We've increased it even further.
And just clap. Honestly, you don't even need to say sync and clap at the same time. You can just clap because it gives you both at the same exact moment.
All right, here I'm clapping. Oh Jesus! Am I making it worse?
Are you?
I'm making it worse.
What are you adding the time to?
I don't know. What should I be adding it to? I opened up the cogs in the advanced audio settings. I went to audio input capture, and it's on 0 currently. Should I be? Man, I should be fucking doing negatives, shouldn't I? I don't think that doesn't make any sense.
No, you can't. No, you can't do negatives. You have to add stuff to the webcam.
The video capture needs the time.
So the faster item, you need to give it more time off.
Okay, when the chat was saying it's desynced, I misunderstood which thing was coming first.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Your webcam is synced with I don't think that wouldn't make any sense for your. So no, your camera is coming first for some reason.
I don't know how that's happening.
You need to whatever you need to slow down.
All right, here we go.
Add the sync offset to that.
I don't know. I have no idea why the video is coming quicker than the audio is, considering there's no filters on it.
And it's a webcam, not yeah.
It's getting better. It's getting better.
Wow, it's
we can
amazing.
Add more power. Who would have thought? It only took 30 minutes. How about now? A band-aid on this. Cuts on this one. Burned myself the other day. It makes me feel alive. It's getting faster. It's getting stronger. We're getting so close. I can't wait to return the favor for all of your your amazing help by kicking you out of this chat. After this is all done.
You're just gonna leave the chat yourself.
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna obliterate.
Yeah, you're not kicking
myself.
me out nowhere.
Well, I am the admin.
Do it, pussy.
Look into my eyes and tell me I'm desynced now.
I'm not looking.
If I can get it so it's like it's not that big of a deal, then I don't care. As long as it's not distracting for the audience. I have important things to say, and I don't want people being distracted by this like.
Hey, what's your sync offset right now? Tell me the number.
1300. A teeny bit more would be 10 out of 10. I can give you a teeny bit.
Wow, 1300.
I'm about to enter 1500 territory. Oh yes. Oh yes. It only took 6.5 years. Now, if I can only figure out how to get the webcam, every time I open up the webcam, I have to pan it. Zoom. It never saves it. I don't know why.
Did you make it a source? You made it a source, yes?
Yeah, it's a source.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What, we all fight about it?
Um.
I did it. Thanks, Funk Chops. Everything's alive and well again.
Let me think.
It's not that big of a deal. I'm like manually controlling.
It kind of is. It kind of is. Do you unplug the webcam at all?
Stays plugged in the whole time.
Stays plugged in the whole time.
It stays plugged in.
Even when you're not streaming.
Even
right?
when I'm not streaming. It's always watching.
All right. Make sure studio mode is off right now, correct?
Yep. Studio mode is
all right. I'm trying to think of why.
One problem at a time. I had other things I wanted to do tonight besides just stick around with a camera forever.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the worry is that if it is resetting, that means you're gonna have to add the sync offset again. And by the way, make sure all your other things on the mixer that isn't desktop audio and the mic you made.
What?
Right. The mic you made.
Yeah.
Make sure everything else is just straight up muted.
Oh yeah, they're all dead. They're all dead to me.
Okay. Cool,
they were actually dead relatively soon. I just didn't realize that there was like different. I didn't realize you could make an audio thing a source. I didn't realize that sources were.
Speaking of, you do have.
That's what the mixer was.
You do have the desktop audio as a source as well. Yes.
Nope.
Hey, guess what you should do right now?
Nah, fuck you. There's no reason for me to make it. There's no problem with it. I have no reason to overcomplicate it. Everyone else sounded fine on the stream. I'll have you know. Everyone sounded pitch perfect.
All right.
But I had like everything else was fine. In the future I'll do it. But for right now, it's been 33 minutes, and I gotta fucking talk about my goddamn D&D game.
Then
what the people really came
fuck off and talk about it.
I'm gonna.
You should sound fine now. And now you know what to do.
Now
wow, it's almost like you would learn if you let me talk you through it.
No. I have to edge you first, otherwise the knowledge isn't as succulent.
Can I ban myself from this fucking Discord?
You can try. You'll just be broken. I didn't even listen to myself in my horrible voice. Yeah, you said Punk Chop sounded fine, Coconut sounded fine. For some reason, Coconut and her shitty Skull Candy microphone is like the highest quality microphone that any of us have.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I sounded fine. I just hate my own voice.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Listen to yourself for like 400 hours.
Other than you, Rinthi was the only one I had an issue with because I think they used speakers.
Yeah, it was just kind of fucky around here or there, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about it.
Please, for the love of God, please talk to them and say, use headphones. Even if you have to plug it in like what I do, I literally have like Skull Candy headphones that are plugged into my desktop.
Yeah,
that I just use.
I don't know. People aren't allowed to. You're banned from the game if you're gonna play your audio through speakers. But anyway, that's time for later. In the meantime, I'm gonna get back to my biznatch, and just text me questions and
leave
the chat. Goodbye. I've killed him. I'm free. My familiar. Well, I don't. It's ugly things off of me. They simply hold me back. They keep my hair from flowing. All right, so now I actually sound good again. Thank you, Blondie, for actually saving my goddamn fucking life. That was miserable. It also means that the new year for the past, like, quite a few, ever since I bought the microphone, I'm going to sound like that. Oh, that's kind of... Also be annoying. But I will at some point. But right now I'm just going to stream this one, and I don't have to worry about it. I way much more prefer being... I like working live better than I do pre-record. I feel like I'm a better live content producer. A real content producer. Yeah, I shouldn't. That way it's more in front of me. I can pan the camera more. And not have to... But anyway, we played D&D on last Thursday, and it was the first session for a new game that I've been writing for a few months now. It's been up and down, left and right. I originally wanted to have 6 people in it, but 2 people couldn't make it. They weren't sure they were going to be able to decide to drop out, and that's fine. I might get more people in the future. I still want to have like at least 5. I have 4 right now, and that's okay. But it's not as many as I'm hoping for. I was really hoping for this to be the D&D experience, where I finally go in and actually play and do the the full, like, go from the books and read the rules and actually try to make encounters that hard. I'm panning myself. I'm just panning to myself at this. So, like, what do we call this campaign? Because the main stories and deaths of St. Joan is mouthful. A name will arise at one point or another. I kind of like that, having the long personal notes, because it feels sort of like the Canterbury Tales or something like that, like the tale of this, that, and the other thing, has that kind of fun medieval vibe in my mind. When it's like that, but it's not that big of a deal if people want to name other things, like the St. Joan campaign. St. Joan, ironically, isn't probably going to feature that much in the game. That was just sort of like the working title, essentially, to give it some flavor and help set the mood. But yeah, it went well. I told everyone I wanted to have at least 6 chapters written, and it wasn't really like 6 definitive chapters. It was more 6 ideas of what will happen to the party at various points. I feel like I got that done. So I felt comfortable enough to eventually start. And sometimes you just gotta go. Sometimes you just gotta. My sensitivity is off. You get certain distances and you cut out. Yeah, that's the kind of why I don't really like the way the noise gate is at various points. I have to fuck around with the noise gate, but I can never remember which one's which is like the volume at which it'll turn off versus which is the volume at which it'll turn on. And I always I reverse them by accident in my head, so I just have to go and check everything. But anyway, I'll just, I shouldn't be moving too much, to be honest with you. I should probably just be staying fucking still, like a good radio content producer. But I just hate it. Can't sit still. But anyway, let me get into the thick of it. And the thick of it is this summary of the game, which I'm probably going to give multiple times because I want people to actually catch up to the story and actually hopefully watch this game. Last time we played for like 7 hours. That will not be what we usually do. That was just because I wrote too much content. And I wanted to end with everybody feeling like they're a party now, and I do feel like I achieved that. Yeah, it was pretty long, but everyone seemed. I mean, I asked ahead of time, like, is everyone okay to keep going? Are we good? We can take a break, and everyone was like, "No, man, I'm good," which is really happy because there was a few people that were kind of apprehensive because it was like new people haven't really played before. Some people were friends, some people knew each other, some people were like, I haven't really met this person before. But everyone seemed to be getting along and was like, "No, I want to play more." In fact, it was kind of funny because I wrote a lot of extra stuff that was like, if player A doesn't want to do player A thing, then I'll have a backup thing for them to do instead. But then ironically, I feel like the players were like, I want to go do that. Oh, I want to go do that thing. I want to be over there. And so they ended up wanting to do the thing anyway, and I didn't have to allow the backup plans. But let me give the quick summary. I guess the quick summary is that I opened up with a cutscene of some battle somewhere far away at some point in time happening. And I let the players kind of fulfill the roles of being the protagonists of that, so I described to them as if they were there. But I didn't explain anything to them. I just said that there's a fight, and Twin Tails is upon you, and your machinations have failed, and it seems like you're about to die, and this thing, whatever it is calling you. And then I just smashed cut. I just continued my conversation with a Ratcatcher, with a fucking adventurer, outside of the front gates of the starting town, and I just let that shitty little adventure be the eyes of the audience and the party for a while, because I didn't want anybody to feel like they were the main character yet, and I wanted everyone to kind of see the world before they had the opportunity to act. And I also wanted to slip the player characters into the narration as NPCs, and people being able to like recognize, like, oh, that's me. Oh, that must be who. So I described like, oh, this adventurer going down the city streets, and they see some festivals happening, and there's someone performing, and there's somebody doing a dance off in the corner, and I slipped in a few other like cooks and bakers and what they're doing. And he almost gets run over by a horse because the first person I wanted to introduce was one of the player characters, which was Gareth, I already kind of decided was going to be the first person that I start with, because that he is the fighter character of Purely Salty that is part of the Inquisitors, and there's only one thing you need to know about the setting. Everything else it's just normal D&D setting, except magic is outlawed. And that's really the only kicker, pretty much. I guess the secondary kicker is like pretend it's D&D, but like 10,000 years in the future of D&D, of the Sword Coast or whatever. But I already decided Gareth is going to be the first one who starts. He was going to be the main character for the beginning. That was my decision. And it was because he was an Inquisitor. And nobody else knew that, but I did, which is the bad guys, quote unquote, the stormtroopers, the people enforcing the magic laws. And I thought it'd be interesting for anybody who still wasn't quite sure about like what the setting was like or what the feel was like. I can say magic is outlawed, but they have to feel it. And Gareth kind of had a really good idea of the way it was supposed to work. And so I wanted to start with Gareth. And then on top of that, I had a secondary character who's Brughild of House Ilowain, who is a noble dwarf, whom is played by our lovely Punk Chops. And that was their story was like, I'm gonna have a magic item and I want to be involved as a noble person who has a bit of a fall from grace sort of thing. And I was like, boy, do I have the Inquisitor for you. So that was part of it. Was some people wrote backstories for the characters that had already happened, if that made any sense. Like, 10 years ago, my blah 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 blah, and then I blah blah blah, and now I'm here. But for other people, this first session was their backstory. So that was kind of why I needed to get everybody sort of in the right position at the right time. So Gareth was responsible for pursuing this rat catcher, this adventurer, that it turns out the Inquisitors knew were delivering some kind of magical item to the dwarf, Brughild. And Gareth is responsible for arresting them, bringing them kind of into the fold of the story. I wasn't quite sure exactly what Punk Chops wanted to do. I don't know what their experience with D&D is, and I didn't force them into stuff that they weren't comfortable with yet, or anybody for that matter. But they were going to get arrested. I warned them ahead of time. I kind of told everybody, like, you're going to get arrested. You're going to be an Inquisitor who's going to arrest somebody. The only person I didn't tell anything about was Valerie, the bard in the very beginning of the game, played by Rini. And if they're here, hello. And feel free to post your shit and whatnot. So yeah, I had one of my player characters arrest one of the other player characters as part of the backstory, and that felt pretty good. But the real kicker of the story was the nearby mountain was going to have some kind of strange ritual happening on it, and it was supposed to basically attract everyone's attention one way or another. For Gareth, it was easy. He was friends with a commander who can just tell him to go investigate. For Azarine, the dancer, whom is mysterious in varieties of ways, she's just naturally curious. Go. Valerie is also this very, very stereotypical adventurer, right? Just like, I am a through and through bard. I'm here to tell stories. I'm here to find things to plunder and do good. So if there's something weird happening on the mountain that's mysterious, strange, and scary, then I'm gonna go. And so the real kicker was kind of Brughild, who had this unique story that I really liked, but it was tougher to get her in position for where she needed to be, because what none of the players knew was how the game was gonna really start once everybody got into the dungeon below the mountain that was hollowed out by goblins and other monsters. They were going to find that it was actually like an ancient holy site, some kind of strange things going on there. And there was a kind of a summoning ritual happening where a dragon was summoned, and they were all branded by some sigils of some kind. And that's kind of it. That's kind of the summary so far. It took 7 hours because there was a lot of little stuff, a little bit of RPing, this or that, the other thing, and there was combat. But combat is, while fun, not really a part of the summary. The combat involves, on the way there, I had to give people different things to fight to make sure that they wouldn't get there too quickly. If you wanted the DM backstory thing, because for like Gareth needed to get there, he was going to get there pretty quickly. He needed to get slowed down by things, so I could get Valerie and Azarine there, who had decided to team up. And I wanted also to have 2 separate ways to go, because I didn't want an Inquisitor, Gareth, who was just playing his character, really salty, but he would be obligated to arrest people who are using magic, and Azarine and Valerie were going to use magic, so there needed to be 2 ways into the mountain. So this is DM backstory stuff at this point. So there need to be 2 ways into the mountain that were separate, and they kind of need to treat each other as antagonists to one another if they cross paths, in the sense of, we can't let the Inquisitor see us, which wasn't that big of a deal. Because Gareth, even if it came down to like Gareth is going to roll perception and they're going to roll stealth, I know that Gareth has terrible perception, so it wouldn't have been that big a deal. I really wasn't worried about it. But I guess I should go back to thinking about what was critique. And I think what was critique was there was a few more NPCs I wanted to fit in the scenes in the very beginning of the game showing the world, that I kind of just forgot about in the moment. I already had so many things to worry about, so I just kind of forgot about them, which is no big deal because I can just make those NPCs show up later. So it's not really a problem. That's not really a problem that the players would even really notice. Is like, a lack of an NPC. Like they don't feel like, I don't just go like, and then blank talks, and they go, who's blank? And I go, I forgot, and then move on. Like that doesn't happen. Another issue was pacing, just a case of trying to get the players to be in the right position at the same time. Previously, I said like every player like what needs to happen to get you to the top of the mountain. And for some people, it was harder than others. And that there's nothing really wrong with that. No one should feel bad, like, oh, my character was difficult. It was just some characters are built more for certain different things, and that's fine. It just meant that it was difficult to get certain players to the mountain. For example, Brughild was like they were arrested, which brought shame to their family. And so when she escaped via the power of her newfound magical book, which was kind of arrested alongside of her, she went immediately back home. She didn't go to the mountain, which is fine. I didn't expect her to. She went back home, and her family basically disowned her for being arrested because you got caught. You got caught. Yeah, you're participating in these shady dealings that we all participate in as well, potentially. But you got caught, and that's the problem. So we're disowning you for the time being. But even after that, Brughild was like, well, I'm just gonna flee then and go the complete opposite direction, which was once again also fine. But that was kind of like I had multiple fail safes of like, if this doesn't get Brughild to the mountain, then this will, and if this doesn't get Brughild to the mountain, then this will. And so Brughild went through all of the fail safes, going all the way and as so far as to escape the city into the countryside. And she only returned by virtue of accidentally coming across a secret that I didn't expect any of the players to necessarily come across, which is there was an army to the south coming north to the town. That is there for mysterious reasons the players haven't figured out, so I'm not really, by mentioning that and then not explaining it, congratulations, you're on the same path as the players. They have no idea what's going on with that either. But with a strange, mysterious storm happening in the sky and some strange ritual and lights happening on the mountain drawing everyone's attention like the Inquisitors, I guess having an army show up in the southern portion of the province is actually not one of the weirder things that's currently happening. So Brughild was actually privy to some of the stuff happening outside of the dungeon while the other three characters were plundering a dungeon, fighting goblins, solving puzzles. Brughild was kind of having more of the RP puzzles, which I was fine with because that's kind of what my game is going to be. It's going to be very RP / politically charged. So Brughild running into like, oh yes, an army is coming this way. Do you recognize the sigils? Yes, it's the sigils of the Dark-Eyed Prince, the supposed dead lord from 60 years ago who started the war with magic that made people then want to outlaw it afterwards because it was basically like atomic weapons. Like a war was fought that had magic in it so devastating that they're like, wow, maybe we should ban this shit. So they did. And that's kind of the only other backstory thing that matters in this setting right now. But that was fun. It was fun trying to get Brughild to there. I don't think that was actually failing. In fact, I'm quite proud of that as the DM, giving Brughild various reasons to actually go to the mountain, involving like she's a magical person who might have a patron of some kind, and the patron is speaking through this book, or maybe the book is the patron. So like the book's like saying like, oh, I can promise you power if you just be my eyes to the mountain. Just sign here, and I'll give you the power that you need. So that was interesting, trying to convince Brughild, and I never really doubted that eventually she would say yes. It was just a question of what will it take. That was quite interesting. But eventually, we did get Brughild to the mountain. If I'm going to go back and now officially do some critiques, Azreen and Valerie had to get to the mountain their own way in a more traditional D&D fashion, and for them, I had a more traditional D&D-esque encounter planned along the way, which was you're in the woods, you might randomly encounter some wildlife that you have to fight, and then there was some goblins afterwards that they'd have to fight to get into the mountain, and the door was locked with a password. And part of that was just to be fun, because the goblins worship their chieftain, who's Bogart Redcap! And they just keep singing his praises, and they keep saying, like, for Bogart Redcap as they die and whatnot. And it was supposed to be kind of funny, and also the password is Redcap. So it was just supposed to be this fun, like, have you been paying attention? Because obviously there's stupid goblins that don't really have much magic, so they only really have the one catchphrase. But it was just one too many fights, ironically. Like, I think that if I did one less fight, if I just skipped the fight with the encounter in the woods with the wildlife, I think it would have been much better, just because it was one more fight. But I put it in there because I found these cute creatures, and I didn't just want to use nothing but goblins. And I wasn't sure who was going to go where. I wasn't sure if the party was going to immediately get together and party hard, or if they were going to take some while to separate themselves. So the encounter was kind of designed with, like, maybe all four of them will be together for it, and I'll just tweak how many there are, if more or less are there. But only two went, and with only two of them there, it was kind of a redundant fight, because that means that a fight was going to happen elsewhere, to stall Gareth and to stall Brughild and whatnot, and so it was kind of an extra fight that wasn't really necessary. Other than that, I think it was pretty okay. I wanted the players to actually start with some combat because it's going to be a combat-heavy game. It's going to be traditional D&D. People are going to be fighting. And so I didn't want to mislead the players feeling it was going to be an entirely RP-heavy session because that's not what the game is going to be like. And so I didn't want Session 1 to reflect that. I felt like that would have been disingenuous. And there was going to be fights with wildlife in the future. Other than that, what was good or bad? Gareth was off on his own with his 2 NPCs, and I didn't really anticipate... I wasn't about to run extra NPCs with him. I wasn't about to give them real turns. I think I handled it pretty well by basically saying, like, so long as you're with your party members, Gareth, you get advantage on basically all of your attacks. Because I don't really want to challenge Gareth and kill him in the first episode, and I don't want to run 2 extra NPCs. Running the enemies is already enough work for me. So I think that actually went pretty well. I was pretty happy with that. I didn't want him to get killed by goblins. Like, it wasn't like any of the fights that he was in clearing out the dungeon, trying to figure out, like, where are these potentially kidnapped people off the roads, and what's happening within this mountain? Like, that wasn't supposed to be the difficult part. So him getting very easy attacks on things and having advantage made sense because he's with 2 other trained professionals. And I also didn't want him to feel like he was that challenged. It's a bunch of goblins. Gareth is, in theory, a 3rd level warrior. He's not supposed to be having issues with goblins. That's not supposed to be a problem. So I was pretty happy with that. Any other issues that I possibly had? I worry that Brughild will think that it was contrived getting them to the mountain. They scaled the top side of the mountain. At the top, they found a teleportation circle, essentially, that brought them instantly to the boss fight room. And I'm pleased to say that was actually planned the whole time. That wasn't something I just improv'd on the spot. That was something that was there as kind of like a backup to get some players to the mountain. But it was also there as a backup for if the players in the boss fight room discovered the teleportation circle, they could actually teleport out and then be at the top of the mountain. And that would have been interesting because different things could have happened. So I thought that was actually... Brughild got a lot of the secret bonus stuff, and I hope that they didn't feel like it was a contrivance. Because it was actually a lot of very important planned things. Yeah, some stuff was improvised, because it was like... I didn't think that Brughild was going to run out into the hills that far, necessarily, but I was like, can I make something of this? And the answer is, yeah, I know that an army is coming. It'd be cool if Brughild knew and nobody else did that this army is coming, and what will she do with this information? Will she be heroic? Will she turn around and try to help people? Will she just try to save her skin? But in the sense of, well, I can't go that way. I have to turn around and go back. So it was a little railroady, but it wasn't... When it's the first session, and I warned the players, like, this session is going to be how the party gets together, I'm not afraid to railroad. I don't think DM should be afraid to railroad the players in session 1. It's like, concessions have to be made. We are playing D&D. We can't avoid playing the game. They're railroading the players into the certain circumstances that they need to be in order to meet their fellow party members, in order to lose their home so they have a reason to leave, to have a boss fight in a very inadvantageous situation that leads them to being hurt in a way that means that they couldn't put up a fight after the summoning was over. And they beat the Etin at the bottom of the dungeon that had made its home there. But in the process, something has been activated and the ritual is being completed, if it is a ritual, the summoning. And the ground is breaking, and like there's aura of magic coming out of the ground, some kind of power. And they're now super wounded from this boss fight, and they survive the summoning of Diathustra, the dragon that thanks them for their participation in the summoning. Hopes that their destinies will entwine once again. Very enigmatic. I love starting the game with a very enigmatic bad guy who doesn't make any sense, because it will someday. I wanted to lay out a mystery for them. They get to the bottom of the dungeon. It's filled with strange sigils on humanoid shapes with all kinds of strange circular patterns and bones and whatnot. And Etin's down there, a 2-headed giant, which I thought was fun. It was fun playing this 2-headed giant where one is the super angry, mean one that actually is a mean giant to kill people with, and the other one's kind of this oafish, sort of stupid, like, oh, I just want to have tea with them maybe and have a good time. Like, could we? I basically was thinking of like the 3-headed giant from the Monty Python sketch, the Holy Grail. What's the name of that? Spamalot. Spamalot's the name of the musical, but I think it's Monty Python. The Holy Grail is the name of the. But I was basically thinking of that, except actually deadly. It was a hard fight. At that point, the players had a few fights. And part of the reason why I had the fight in the woods is because I'm trying to do that thing where I actually try to get to 6 encounters in a single adventuring day. D&D is supposedly balanced so that you can have 6 fights before needing to take a long rest. And so I was like, okay, well let's try it, right? Let's have a fight on the way to the on the way. Let's have a fight at the door. Let's have a fight inside. And that's 3 for half of the party. And then Gareth had a fight on the way in with Bogart Redcap and his army of goblins. And he made short work of them, but the Redcap was missing at the end. What could that mean? I know what that means. The Redcap is not finished with its appearance in the game. The goblins all worship their chieftain, who's Bogart Redcap, who wears a red cap. But when Gareth finished killing Bogart Redcap and all the rest of the goblins in the room, the Redcap was gone. So that's another one right there. And then there's the Etten. And that's 5, which is pretty good for session 1. The Etten was the boss fight. And that's 5, and I wanted to get to 5. I wanted to see, like, what does it feel like to fight that 5th boss enemy after having 4. I tried to go for 5, but I actually removed a few things. The 5th encounter, I could say, were, like, traps and puzzles that they met along the way, and resources that they might have expended to, like, suggest to a guard, like, to leave them alone or something. So I guess that's the 5th encounter, quote-unquote. But that fight was hard. That fight was hard for them. I never worried that they were going to get killed because the Etten wasn't capable of doing much damage. Normally I wouldn't tell anybody this, but the Etten wasn't a full-blown Etten. It had lower health, and it didn't hit as hard. I lowered its to-hit value, its accuracy. I lowered its accuracy. Originally, I was going to lower how much damage it did, too, but then I realized like exactly how much health this party has, because they're starting as level 3. They're not level 1. So I kind of bumped them back up again, actually, after Gareth was like, no, I have like 48 health left or whatever. Oh, well, in that case, fuck you. But it was kind of like it was a level appropriate Etten, because an Etten's actually a very strong enemy to fight at level 3. So it was an appropriately leveled Etten. Its mother was an owlbear. It was a starved Etten. It was living off of like eating goblins. Basically, in the bottom of this dungeon, it wasn't a full blown killing machine. Oh, I have Snarling here. Snarling really hasn't actually seen any of this, so I really should be more specific when I tell the story. But yeah, it was this party of 4 disparate adventurers. The mountain's going wild. It basically has like a tornado forming over it, dark clouds, a tempest, rain is pelting, strange colored lightning, and it basically draws the players all there in their own ways. The hardest being Brughild, who's a warlock that has recently acquired a magic book delivered to them, and also that magic book got him in jail because Gareth, the Inquisitors intercepted that, like, we don't know what this magic book is, but that noble can't have it because magic is outlawed, and so they arrested her for it, and so now she's like half a convict with this book. So the book has to convince Brughild, like, be my eyes, because it seems like a lot of people beyond the players know that there was something happening with this mountain. Because an army showed up by the Dark-Eyed Prince, at least that they were wearing the flags of the Dark-Eyed Prince, which has been dead for 60 years. The army crushed long ago. And there was a ship on the horizon that Brughild saw. It looked like a ship with guns, some kind of naval vessel. And it seemed like a lot of people were interested in the mountain, and the players just got there first. And so they beat the Etten. The ground is shaking, and an iron golem summons itself from the ground and warns them there should be no intruders. But the iron golem doesn't get the chance to start some kind of extra bonus fight with them because the ground explodes. And they are surrounded by green energy. And it's then that all 4 players get branded. The sigils that were down in the basement on these statues that had these like circular patterns on like their chest or like around them, they shoot out from the statues and they land on the players in some random position on their bodies, and it brands them with their own unique sigil. And as the DM, branding the players is already a little bit of a step too far, in my opinion, because I don't like to dictate what the players dress like or what they look like or how their species acts. Usually when any player is making a player and they start they ask me like, oh, what's the race like? Or what's the gods? Or like, what do they look like? I'm sort of like, you decide. I don't care. You're the one who has to play it. You're the one who has to live with it. And I find that most players hate this. They absolutely despise when I give them power over what their race is like, or what the traditions are like, or what like histories they have, and religious values and saints. So yeah, I branded them, but I was like, no, you decide where the brand is, what it looks like. It's up for you to decide, because this is supposed to be the whole point. Is this brand is going to become like your players' like main, like their tattoo, their symbol, even potentially their own unique marker. So the players got branded. And they get lifted to the top of the mountain in this kind of energy-like column, and a dragon is up there forming out of thin air, and thanks them for their destinies intertwining with its before flying off, and there's an explosion of light and sound, and they're fine. But they find that they're now in a crater at the top of Mount Orion, and Inquisitors are there surrounding them to arrest them, because they're presuming you must have something to do with this. So they cage up the players and bring them back down the mountain. And Otto von Balthasar, the commander of the Inquisitors in the area, is betrayed by Gareth. And Gareth says, no, I had nothing to do with the summoning of this dragon. You have to understand, I was just doing my job. You trust me. And Otto does trust him. But Otto also saw, or at least heard reports of, Gareth murdering 2 prisoners back at the HQ within Fort Dolan, the local town. And that is strange, because Gareth did not do that. And Gareth knows that Gareth did not do that. But Gareth thinks that perhaps someone is fucking with him. Because Otto von Balthasar is always followed by a superior, a tiefling from foreign affairs, from a foreign country, from home base, essentially, has recently moved in. And when Gareth hears, like, I'm sorry, what? I killed 2 prisoners? I don't recall doing that. The tiefling smirks at him. So the tiefling has some kind of agenda that Gareth doesn't know about, but Gareth is of the understanding, I've been framed. And I don't think there's anything I can do about it, but I will trust that the law is on my side, because that's just what Gareth is like. So they're brought back down to the town in their cage, all 4 of them. Some of them are freaking out at this point. Azarine and Valerie are pleading the fifth. They're like, I don't know nothing about magic. You can't put nothing on me. Oh, you can't put nothing on me. And Azarine's just crying. Brookild is like, I'm going back to the clink already, huh? But they're lucky, or maybe unlucky, in that when they get back to the town, the army that Brughild saw before arrives at the town and begins attacking it and sacking it and is savagely destroying it. Catapults are coming through the air, meteors are falling, the storm is not over, the city's attacked, and in the process, the horses that are spooked, that are pulling the cage, end up flying down the streets with the players in tow, which was an improv event, actually. I realized as I was describing, like, catapults falling and, like, the buildings, like buildings getting hit by these giant pieces of rock and shattering and stone going everywhere and fires erupting in the fort. I was like, would the horses really be able to maintain composure? But more importantly, I was like, how are the players going to get out of this? Sacked, Kraken, and jacked. But I thought it was interesting because I liked the idea that the situation is out of control for everyone and that the Inquisitors weren't going to be able to maintain looks on the players. So that was improv, and I was quite happy with it. I was actually quite pleased. So Otto, like, sees this attack happening, and then sees as the cage is like, as takes away the players, essentially. But that's not the end of it, because that's not like a free GM's giving you a jail out of free card. That is, the DM's presented you a problem. You still have to escape your prison, your cell. You just don't have any guards to worry about, is essentially what it means. But they had clever ideas. Like, Gareth got up and was like, when we turn a corner, when this horse turns a corner, I'm going to slam my body into the side of the cage and tip it over and try to make this thing crash. And when the rest of the party sees Gareth gets up to do that, they all go, all right, good idea. And so everyone, when the horse and the buggy turn a hard corner down one of the alleys, they throw their bodies in, and it made everyone roll athletics check. And they did averagely, but they didn't need to roll very high to tip the cart, and it crashes into a building. And this is where I started to have some fun with kind of like what's happening. The DM gets to have the opportunity to kind of like shape the tone of the story. So the cage like crashes to the front wall, and they find themselves like in the kitchen of an old married couple having dinner. And they're shackled. They have like manacles on. I always say monocles instead of manacles. Manacles that are like 25 pounds each, and they stop you from casting magic because the Inquisitors are aware of that sort of shit. Excuse me. And so they have to now escape manacles. And this is the point where like they start to discuss, like, what are we going to do? We're all obviously now interlinked by what just happened here. We're all going to get thrown in the clink, and the mayor wants to execute us for this involvement. Like, the Inquisitors don't usually... A lot of them have a tendency to shoot first, ask questions later. Otto von Balthasar is very law-abiding, and he's unusual because of that. And Gareth believes and trusts him because of this. So the mayor would have happily had them all executed, but Otto stops them and says, no, they will face trial. And me, the DM, if that actually happened, I would say that the trial would not go in their favor, and they probably would have gotten executed anyway, but at least they would have had the opportunity with Otto. So now they've escaped. Gareth is planning on going right back and helping his fellow Inquisitor brethren fight off this army, but Brughild has seen the army ahead of time. when she tried to escape and flee, she went to the top of a hill. She saw it, and she knows Inquisitors are not going to win. And so she stops Gareth in a strange kind of, not uncharacteristic of her, Brunhild. In fact, I'd say it was kind of a developing moment, because she was kind of deciding, like, we're all in this together, and I've sort of lost my team, my family. They're not, and I want to figure out what's going on with that. But we're going to be dead if we try to go out. You'll die, and kind of manages to convince Gareth not to go in her patronizing sort of way, obviously, and for other things. Back to the slammer. But yeah, so the Gareth is convinced to, like, no, you're no good dead. You can at least figure this out if you're alive. And Azarine and Valerie kind of like figure out, like, okay, we need a blacksmith shop or something to, like, get these manacles off. And so they do, and it wasn't they'll get the manacles off. The DM making that difficult isn't helping me, because I want the story to progress too, and these manacles aren't a life or death dramatic thing about whether they'll get it off. So I was like, they'll get them off. It's a question of, do they have to break them to get it off? Because if they have to break them to get it off, then they don't get the opportunity to keep these manacles, which stop casters. So if they ever want to capture a casting person in the future, it'd be very useful to have these casting-stopping manacles. Gareth got clever and heated up a needle and stuck it in. So he was waiting, like, the molten metal to, like, form to the lock and turn it and try to, like, force the lock open. Which I let him do, and I let him roll dexterity, and the DC was easier because of his cool plan, and he succeeded. So now Gareth has one set of 25-pound manacles that will stop a caster from casting. There are limits to them. Potentially very high-level casters, that's not going to stop them. But for pretty much everyone that they'll meet for the next, like, 5 levels, it totally will. So now it's like this opportunity for treasure, essentially. And so he succeeded, and everyone else broke off their manacles. But there's this combat happening outside. This army is now fighting against the Inquisitors, who, the Inquisitors are they're the good guys, right? Like, they're police. They defend the citizens. So they're not, like, in the wrong when they're doing. They're a little harsh, but, like, they're quote-unquote the good guys. And so none of the players were like, well, we're going to help the army kill the Inquisitors and take this place for ourselves. But this is where I started to think, like, shoot, there's NPCs that aren't going to show up now that I wish that I could. And I won't spoil too much, but there was an NPC from that enemy army that I wish that they had. I didn't want them to interact with him, but I wanted them to see him. It was kind of like the leader of the army, who was going to, like, have some words for Otto, and Otto was going to be like, oh, well, I will repose your words. I retort. And they were supposed to just be witness to that necessarily, and they didn't get the chance to do that because I improv'd them galloping away on these wild horses. But that's not a problem. That's just an NPC who can show up later. And so they kind of decide, like, okay, we have to flee. We're going to go over the northern bridge. And this is sort of where my play as the DM writing the beginning of the game is over with. Like, I was going to railroad them to get branded at the top of the mountain, have the dragon appear out of nowhere, and have them be blamed for it. That was kind of the pitch of the game, was you guys will play criminals who are basically on the gallows, and then something happens to stop you from getting assassinated or from being executed. And so with that premise done, I'm like, now it's in your hands. You guys tell me what you do. How do you escape Fort Dullahan? Do you escape Fort Dullahan? Are you going to help somebody? Are you going to pillage? Are you going to try and kill people on the way out? This is where we started playing D&D. And so they all decided we're going to go to the north section and fight our way out. And they did, but they're still hurt from the fight. So it's kind of more of a skill challenge. Like, how do you use your skills to navigate your way out of this city? Do you use athletics to see how fast you go? I was making them roll athletics to see who would catch up with them. Which was fun because then one of the enemy army faction's major NPCs, like this crazy dude with emerald armor, he's like giant essentially and shredded out of his mind, but he's manacled when they first see him. And some other army person unshackles this figure. And once he's unshackled, he's like twice the size all of a sudden. And he smells the players almost and gives pursuit. And the players run. And so this was kind of like their main antagonist as they attempt to escape the city of Fort Dullahan, was this one figure who's seemingly magical and highly athletic. And Gareth had some cool ideas of like, oh, I know the city back and forth. I'm going to try and get my way out of here. And Valerie can like firebend essentially. So it's like there's fires and raging fires and torches and stuff like that. She like and turns one of them into smoke and tries to cover their tracks. And Azarine can do something similar where she can generate water mist to also kind of be like a smoke screen. So when they get to the bridge, there's two people waiting there they're minions, and I don't mind telling the players that. They have 1 HP each. but they're just as effective as any other fighter would be. Like, they'll do a lot of damage, and if they try to get by, they're going to get an attack of opportunity. So they had to think of something clever, and that was when that came in handy. It was like this smoke bending, essentially. And then they get on the bridge. And this is one more case of me kind of railroading. It's not railroading so much as, like, I'm going to force this thing to happen, but it was like, I just can't believe that they're really going to get with that dude. I know that that dude is, like, level blank, like, super high level. That knight, the Emerald Knight, who was shackled to begin with and is pursuing them. I know that he is going to catch up with them, and they're not going to get across the bridge scot-free just by being able to water mist and firebend, even though it's very cool and very clever. So it wasn't really railroady. I was just kind of like, okay, well, let's roll some dexterity and stuff like that, because the guy's going to try and kill you with, like, a ki blast, like a kamehameha. And that was when Azarine used her water mist to kind of, like, obscure them. And so I was like, that's really cool. I'll roll with disadvantage. And he missed. He didn't hit anybody, but he destroyed the bridge, which I knew was going to happen. Because I know that this dude is fucking crazy over level for them to fight. And they're just going to have to run away. And that's also, I don't mind them knowing that. I'm like, you guys got to flee. Oh, how are you guys going to escape? Because everyone was kind of under that assumption anyway, that they can't fight a whole army. I did a very good job of showing them that the odds were stacked against them. Nobody was under the delusion, we have to stay and fight this army. Which was very nice. I'm glad that they were able to read between the lines. And so they escaped. Kinda. The bridge exploded and they fell into the water. And this was something important that I really wanted to have happen, because this is when Azarine reveals she's quite good in the water. Gareth goes under and he's quite bad with the water. So he almost drowns. As does Brookhilde, because she's just this dwarf who's never had to paddle in her life. So I have them both roll Constitution, but that was kind of just for flavor. I was like, maybe I'll have them roll Constitution just to see, like, do they go unconscious and have to, like, long rest and have medicine applied to them? But I was like, they're both going to block out for story reasons. And I feel like they'd agree. Both of them are very, like, what would my character do kind of people. So I don't think that either of them were going to disagree with that. But then Gareth blacks out, and I wanted to follow Gareth's view because I wanted the audience as a party and whoever was watching and me to feel surprised when Gareth wakes up, like, maybe hours later. They've been washed upstream by tides coming in, and they see that Azarine has revealed that she's a mermaid, essentially. She reveals that she's a mermaid, and she fucking swum their asses down the bayou into the marsh, with Valerie kind of, like, trying to hold on for dear life and, like, swimming after them. Swimming away. You guys are real bad at making jokes. But yeah, so that was kind of like Azarine's extra secret backstory for herself. So Brookhilde's special thing is she's a noble that's fallen from grace, but we'll probably still have a lot of connections because word doesn't travel fast. There's no internet in this setting. No one can call up and be like, yeah, Brookhilde is canceled. So there's, like, not everyone's gonna know that Brookhilde is, like, the exiled noble yet. Gareth's thing is is a former inquisitor, so that comes with its own special knowledge and tools and unique things. And Valerie's unique thing is, ironically, the fact that she is the de facto stereotypical adventurer and represents that idea of a D&D character that knows the wilderness and knows magic and is willing to get their hands dirty for a price, and knows who to talk to. Kind of like that. Valerie's like the Han Solo of the group, right? Like the sort of, like, not a scoundrel necessarily, like, but they're, like, they've been around. They know how to deal with the world in a neutral way. Gareth deals with the world in a very lawful way, sometimes antagonizing way. Brookhilde engages with the world in a way of how can she abuse it or use it for her own gain. Our mermaid Azarine is the kind of character that is very innocent and sees the best in the world. And Valerie is that neutralizing. I'm very happy. It's a very well-balanced party in terms of characterization. And I was also happy that that's sort of where we ended it. That was kind of like just Gareth waking up and them seeing the smoke of Fort Dilhan off in the distance. They don't really know how long it's been. And now they're still in the same hex, because the map I've given them is goddamn huge. One hex represents, like, 4 or 5 days of travel to get from one hex to the next. And travel's gonna be big in this game. But now they're out in the wilderness. And there'll be wilderness survival rules, and it's going to be stuff like them figuring out, like, describe to me how you make a camp, and, like, exploring and kind of, like, seeing the world and coming across random encounters with, like, travelers, and trying to flee whatever comes out of Fort Dilhan. Maybe that Emerald Knight's still after them. maybe Otto von Balthazar has survived, and he's looking for them too. So now the world is sort of their oyster. They have a map, and they know kind of the immediate vicinity of like, well, there's a city to the north, there's a wilderness to the south. If you go east, there's mountains. Maybe you can like, it's up for them to decide how they want to shape the game, and that's kind of what I'm excited about. Is I want to play a D&D game that's shaped by the players, not by me, the DM. I want what happens to be decided by them, not me. Obviously, everywhere they go, there'll be something interesting, and I'm going to be throwing wrenches at them in the form of characters that want things done. I don't mean of like requesting. I mean like Otto von Balthazar wants something done. He wants to jail their asses. That's what I mean by characters who want something done. So they'll run into stuff like that. But that's kind of where we left it. Was they were just on the side of this beach alongside a river. Gareth just kind of like brought back from the grave, and that's some stuff involving his backstory that I'm sure he's excited to deal with. And at the Blondie was kind of like, I didn't think it'd come out so soon. But on the one hand, it's like, my opinion at this point is kind of like, why wait? Right? Like, why wait to have good things, cool things happen? Like, I'm not here to edge everyone forever. Not everyone always like a cool. There's no way the players can know that there's cool content around the corner without me spoiling things. And so it's sort of like, we played for 7 hours, and it was a very natural way that Gareth's like, I don't like water thing kind of was revealed. So I was happy with how it went. And I hope he doesn't feel like it was rushed, because it was very natural, and I really liked it. But it was kind of like, why wait? Azarine's secret was like she's a mermaid, but it's like, that's so cool, and there's so much more stuff that can be done afterwards. Yeah, Salty's on board. Salty's like, it was great. It was great. Salty was ready for it, as I knew he. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, it was like I wanted everybody kind of to be at ground zero by the end of this session, because there's so much more cool stuff to do and have happen and to explore. So it's like, why wait? Why wait? Maybe I was more telling myself that than anything. Why wait? Let's just have the cool stuff happen. Well, now looking back, and now that I've told the whole summary, there is a few more critiques that I can think of, and one was a meta thing. One was, now we're just sitting by the water, like, now what? Yeah, and that's fine. Now what is the question? That's kind of the point of this game, is like, and now what? You guys got to figure that out. But one of the meta things was, originally I wanted, because of everyone's starting at level 3, and I kind of want everyone to feel like their character had been around and has been exploring for a while and has been an adventurer for a while. I wanted them to start with an uncommon item. But I didn't really know how to do that, and I'd been kicking around ideas in my head of like, maybe I'll find items myself that I've vetted, and I'll put them in a chart, and I'll say everyone can pick one from this chart. I didn't really like that, because I didn't really know the characters very well or what they'd like. I didn't want to have that kind of control. I want to react to them. I don't want them to react to me. I feel like I've done enough railroading to get them on the plot. And also, like, when we started this game, I gave them 3 pitches of like pick. Like, that was kind of me already kind of controlling the nature of the game. Is like, here's the 3 games that I would like to run. You guys can pick amongst them. And that didn't really work out either, because everyone was like, I don't know, I'm good for anything, basically. And so it ended up kind of just being me picking what I wanted to do anyway, with some encouragement from players, because a lot of people were very ambivalent. So it was sort of like, I just want to play D&D. I trust that you'll be a good DM. And I'm like, well, I appreciate it, but I want to run a game that you enjoy. And they're like, well, I'd enjoy anything. Oh, well, it's very sweet of you. But fuck you, that makes me have to decide something. Azarine kicking her legs. Well, fins. Yeah, her fins. There's cool character stuff. But yeah, I didn't figure out how to do it in time for the beginning of the game, and I just kind of gave up on it. And I remembered it in the back of my head. It wasn't like I completely forgot, like, oh, pick an uncommon item to start the game with. But it was like, we're gonna play like tomorrow or the day after, and it's like, we just don't have time, and not everybody knows their character or what they're kind of missing, so I didn't really worry about it. And then later people were like, oh, well, I was supposed to have an uncommon item the whole time, and it was like, yeah, your character in theory you have a Schrodinger's magic item, where it's like, if you want, you can say that this magic item is something that you had this entire time. You just didn't use it for whatever reason. Maybe it wasn't useful. Or there'll be an opportunity at the beginning of next session for you guys to acquire treasure, and whatever uncommon item you pick will be amongst that horde of treasure that you guys find. Because I want people to have an uncommon item that makes them feel special, and makes them feel unique, and sets them apart from other characters out there in the universe. And so that was the only meta thing. I was like, I guess I could have given them notice. But now that I think about it, I don't think they would have known what they wanted anyway. because they didn't play yet. They didn't know what the game was going to be like. And now I feel like the players know like what the game play is going to be like, and some players are like now can consider like, do I want a weapon? Do I want some kind of armor? Do I want some kind of magical thing that protects me? Do I want to be able to cast a spell? Do I want to augment what already existing abilities? And now they have a better idea of what they want. I don't think they would have if we didn't play first. So I'm glad that we did that. It worked out well. And it'll be a cool story moment when I describe exactly how they get the treasure. It'll be interesting. It's not going to be ham-fisted. It's not going to just be like they find a parcel. Oh, you find a dropped box in the middle of the woods, and inside is 5 very rare magic items. Like, no, it'll be a lot more interesting. And now they have a week to think about what they want. Though I'm gonna have to force them to come up with it sooner rather than later, because it's like I don't want to have to worry about like what's there, because I can probably do some cool thing with whatever item it is that they want. So I'm probably gonna have to say like, hey, you got till Wednesday, like the day before we play. We play Thursday night, by the way. I'm thinking it's gonna be at 7 o'clock. Maybe if we start at 6, that'd be better for people. So it's between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. We're gonna play D&D. I will stream it, so I welcome everybody to come back and watch. And this time I'll probably spread the word a little bit more, especially now that the audio's fixed. Thank you, Blondie. And the second issue I had, very specific, was I wish I'd given Gareth specifically more time to talk with Otto von Balthazar for 2 reasons. One is that's an NPC that's very important to his backstory. But second, Otto von Balthazar, the commander of the Inquisitors in the local area, is going to be important to the rest of the game. I would have liked him to have more screen time before the players became his antagonists. And so that's kind of, I just wish I'd spent a little bit more time. But he didn't have a lot to say. To him, he didn't know that it was going to be a weird day. He didn't know that anything was going to be different about today, that Gareth was going to betray him. So he had no reason to be suddenly sentimental and talk a lot about himself or anything like that. So I feel like character-wise, the characters know who he is and how he acts, and Gareth will know from backstory stuff what he's like as well. And I am looking forward to having flashbacks between Gareth and Otto. I'll be like Otto will probably, or Gareth will probably say like, oh, do I know anything about this thing? And I'll be like, sure, roll history. And then if he rolls well in history, I'm going to just transition like talking about a conversation he had with Otto. And Otto's going to reoccur again, so he'll have plenty of time to define himself. But it's not the way I originally wanted to do it, but it's not a bad thing. It's just different. So now it kind of is like a more of an en medias res sort of thing, where it's like we've seen Otto just a few times, and it's like, oh, that's what a weird guy. And so we'll discover more about him as the game goes on, and we're looking back in time, and things will become more dramatic as we learn about Otto and learn about Gareth and learn about the other characters, and people can be like, oh, it all makes sense now. And that's kind of a cool feeling too. So it wasn't that big of a deal. I was very happy with our improv RPing Brughild's family. Brughild was trying to like find her father and be like, someone fix this, I got arrested this morning, you have to get me out, and they're gonna come and try to re-jail me again. I escaped, but they haven't caught me yet. And it was fun having Brughild's family be like, no, get out. And I knew that was going to happen, but it was kind of like, what level was like, Brughild was like, is my father here? And I had to kind of make a snap decision on like, is her dad here? And I was like, no. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, no, you have to talk with your mother. Your father's away. And part of it was like, oh, he's at sea. He's out right now. He's out either in the harbor on the boats, in which case he's in danger by that other boat. Dramatic. Or he's not here, period. And it kind of just goes to show that like, that's one more NPC you can show up later. That's been foreshadowed. And it was fun playing characters where it was like the player knew like this is going to fail. The player knows that their backstory is going to require that this fails. And it was interesting playing this sort of like, but how do they fail? Right? Like what does mom say? And it was nice playing like the bodyguard who's like, I don't want to see you go, but I have to do what the master of the house orders. So I'll give you ceremonial dagger before you go. And that was fun. That was sweet. That was the kind of the small stuff that the players don't really think about at the time. If I forced them to sit down and write like 3 pages of backstory or something, I'm sure that they would. I don't want them to, because I like coming up with little stuff like that in the where it's like, yeah, this guard would want to give you something to remember him because he helped like when you were but a wee babe. He was there guarding you, crib and stuff like that. So it's very interesting like that. Other than that, it went pretty good. I was quite happy. I was quite pleased with it. I like the combats. I thought the Etten fight afterwards, like Rinthi was saying, like I actually had to pull out all the stops. I had to use all my cool abilities. And I'm like, good, your abilities are cool. I want you to use them. I liked when it was like that first round when they had the Etten, every single person used a debuff spell at once, and so the Etten was like stunned, confused, blinded, like all in wonder, and he literally couldn't attack on the first turn, while the party just like wailed on him, and I'm like, oh, good, yes. I'm not here to. I don't make really hard encounters as the DM because I want to win or because I want to see my bad guys do cool things or see my bad guys beat the players. I do it because I want to see the characters, the players' characters, go balls to the walls. I want to see them like busting out all their cool moves, and like I wanted to see like Gareth using his super strike. What the fuck is it? Emotional damage. No, his fighter ability that lets him act again. Action surge. That's it. Or like the debuff spells that bards have and things like that, like stuff that you normally wouldn't see in the regular shitty fights. Comes out big in the boss fight, and it was very cool to have this like Etten be a legitimate cool threat to the players because it made them feel like I actually have to think and I actually have to use all my stuff. That felt good. And it seemed like everyone was pretty satisfied with it. The only complaint that the players had were like, I think there was one too many fights, which I agree with. I think that the wildlife fight could have been taken out, though it was nice because it set up the Etten fight later because they had some less resources to deal with, so it made the Etten fight feel a lot more tenseful. So it was like it wasn't a waste, but it wasn't a dramatic fight. There wasn't a story reason why. The other one was like the goblins live here, so at the very least, like if you pick fights with them, it's because you're trying to find more treasure, or they're guarding the door, and you have to go through them anyway. And like it was fun, like they're screaming Bogart Redcap, and like the weird they're worshiping their chief who wears his red hat, and they just can't stop saying his name and stuff like that. That was fun, but like the wildlife fight, like there was no characters, there was no drama. It's kind of wasted time. But at the same time, I kind of needed to waste some time. I needed some time to get Brughild in the right place. Because I knew it was going to be difficult to get her to sign up with the party. Because Brughild had the most to lose. Right? Like starting as like basically royalty. And then going down to pauper. So it was harder for her character to get into the adventurer mindset. But we did it. And I thought it was handled very well. I thought it was very entertaining to me. I think it was very entertaining for the players. Everyone wanted to play for 7 hours, which we'll never do again. It's 4 hours is kind of the longest I'll do. I feel 3 to 4 hours is the longest game I think I can manage. Because from now on, I'm not going to have the advantage of having had weeks to prepare. Now it's going to be 1 week to have prepared. Yeah, so it was long. It's never going to be that long again. But it was cool. It was cool to have all this stuff happen. It was cool to have the party get together, the summoning of Diamundra Diathustra, the black dragon with 2 tails. The Dark-Eyed Prince's army, if that's what it really is, showing up on the front doorstep and basically destroying Fort Dolhan. It was like, you can't go back because you're now illegal because they're blaming you for what happened on the mountaintop. And also Gareth has been accused of killing 2 people. I'm unsubbing if it's not another 7-hour fucking campaign. I don't think I can. If we're ever gonna do more than 4 hours, it's because we started at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Or we start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Both. Some kind of special. But I don't like. I kind of wanted to do this as an entertainment thing as well, like a D&D stream. I wanted to stream it. I think that we can be entertaining. Or at least I can be entertaining. My idea for the stream of what this show is gonna be is not. It's not Critical Role. It's not gonna be like watching the players play. Ironically, not to toot my own horn, but I would like to do a stream that's actually kind of more from the DM point of view, where it's like, I got this camera and it was so that like people can see like my reactions to stuff. Like, so I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great, yeah, okay, yeah. Like you guys come up with a plan, and I look at the camera and go, that's a terrible idea. They have a bad plan. Fucking look at me sipping. But yeah, I plan on streaming it, and I'm only planning on having the episodes be like 3 hours long on Thursday nights, essentially, because that's really all I have time for. I only have 3 extra hours to spare in the week now that I have 2 jobs, and one of them is a highly demanding Like I'm a reporter now, and I'm doing stuff in the entertainment industry, which is a lot of fun. But it's like I don't have time, so I run 2 D&D games. But it's a good story. The first one being 7 hours means that I will not ever expect anybody to watch it, and I will probably recap everything myself. Usually I have the players be like, what happened last time? But I don't think I'll do that. I think the next time we start on Thursday, I'll be like, what happened last time is, and I'll do like a quick 20-minute, no, maybe not 20 minutes, but like 5 minutes to explain what happened last time. I don't need the DM. Purely Salty has sent me a DM about his character, and I can only reply is, yes. But yeah, it'll be fun. If people enjoy playing in my game, then you'll enjoy watching it. I'm gonna try and make it. I'm gonna make it entertaining. But it's not the player's job to be entertaining. It's my job to be entertaining. I'm the DM. It's kind of my responsibility to make content that is enjoyable and that people want to see. It's my job to entertain. It's the player's job to react and prod me to come up with more entertainment. That's kind of my opinion of how I want this to go. That's not my opinion on how every DM needs to run. That's not my DM advice. But that's what I want to do. I think people will enjoy it. And so yeah, the recap of basically the 4 players, through their own means, 4 strangers are drawn to the top of a mountain, undergoing some strange magical aurora borealis in a world where magic has been outlawed. And at the top, they find some explosion of magical energy after appropriate goblin boss fights that brands them with some kind of magical sigil, and they're blamed for what happens. And now they're on the run. And it seems like they're on the run from more than one person. The Inquisitors think that they're responsible, and a mysterious army showed up at the starting town and laid waste to everything. They also seem to be after the players for one reason. And that's it. That's all the players know. This game is a mystery. I love mystery. And there'll be miniature arcs. They'll be like, oh, the players want to go to this town. Well, that town has a mystery to solve, or that town has a thing to solve, or that hex at least. And they're probably gonna play some political stuff. There's 4 big nations. It's the four nations from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Essentially, it's the same level of political intrigue. And they all have their different opinions on whether or not magic should or can be banned. The players will fall on their own lines, but basically, that's now the mystery of why did Gareth get blamed for killing 2 prisoners that he definitely didn't do. I did not RP that with him. And them trying to figure out what's with these sigils, what happened in the mountain. What is that dragon that seemingly got summoned? Because in my setting, dragons are mythical creatures. Like, they don't exist. This one does. Wyverns exist. Wyverns exist. Those are wild animals, essentially. But dragons don't exist, so this is the first time a dragon has ever appeared. Yeah, Gareth, there's a few side characters I have elected to him. But that's kind of it, it's that Gareth is part of the Inquisitors, and he's been wrongfully accused. And he knows that he has some suspicions over a tiefling that is supposedly from high command, but like nobody ever asks him what he's doing, and he seems to have full authority, and Gareth never trusted him, because Gareth only believes in the law. Which is purely Salty's. Yeah, they've been branded. They're out on their own. They're trying to flee a burning city. Broly from Dragon Ball Z almost killed them with Kamehameha. And that's kind of where we left it. They're going to go and pick up some items, essentially, and they're going to have to decide, like, where do you go next? Who do you try to trust? What town do you try to venture to? They have been given a map. And I'm pretty happy with the fights so far. This is the first time I'm really like, I have the DM's handbook on my bookshelf and a monsters manual, and what do I have that's cool? So I actually got to have some cool combat. I'm a bigger fan of combat that doesn't take forever. I'd rather have a combat that's only a few rounds long, but everyone hits really hard, rather than like a billion rounds and it's just this slog back and forth. So that's I have a feeling that's gonna be my preferred style. But I'm quite happy. I'm uploading the first episode to YouTube, since it's just straight from Twitch, so I don't actually have to do anything. And the audio's been fixed. The audio sounds terrible from my end, but everyone else sounds great. It's fine. I had to turn off my AC. We're going shirtless. Hope somebody's sponsored. It'll be fun. It'll be enjoyable. There'll be mysteries to solve. Everyone seems to enjoy it. It was kind of it was sort of how it was the pilot episode, both in the sense of it's a stream, and I'm thinking about, oh god, I have to crazy. Oh, maybe I'll grow it out. Who knows? But yeah, it was a pilot to see who would enjoy themselves. Punk Chop seems to enjoy themselves. Purely Salty seems to enjoy themselves. Coconut seems to have enjoyed themselves. Rinthy seems to have enjoyed themselves. There's a lot of people that didn't know each other, and that was kind of my goal. Is I wanted to get like as many people as possible that I haven't played with yet playing with me, and I think it was a success. Everyone seemed to have enjoyed themselves. So we'll continue. And hopefully I'll be able to keep up the week pace, but not doing DMing 2 games every week, which isn't that big of a deal. I've had a lot of time to work on the one, and it's kind of already written, and it's just sort of up to the players to decide like which branches get taken. And then this one is going to be more up to the players to figure out what they're doing. I'm going to be a lot more forceful about like, you tell me, like, what's the plan? Where are we going? There's no hint. There's no NPC to tell you what to do. It's just the wins. Where will you yourselves get taken? It'll be enjoyable. Do I have any questions from the audience? Very bold. Yeah, it was quite good. Everyone's going to start with their uncommon items. Some uncommon items I hope that they choose, but I'm not going to put any input in. Because I want it to be their own choice. I want it to be or what they think is going to be useful. I'm not going to be afraid of overpowered items because I've done a lot of research on some stuff, and it turns out that a lot of the things that people say is overpowered in D&D is only overpowered because someone's using a rule wrong, or they're not remembering that there's an equally overpowered counter. So I'm not really too worried about it. I'm kind of just relying on the rules of D&D to be balanced. I'm kind of just trusting Wizards of the Coast on this one. Maybe I'll even use pre-published adventures. I might have like stuff from Curse of Strahd or like Wrath of the Storm King, Frost Giant, Wrath of the big dude with ice. Like I might take content from there and even put it in. But it'll be good. All the players got some unique, cool backstory stuff that I'm looking forward to plundering. There'll be fun NPCs. I feel like I'm pretty well known for doing fun NPCs at this point. I'm pretty good at improvising dialogue, coming up with some unique characters that are, I personally think, very one-dimensional, but people enjoy them, and I try to give them motivations that make sense, and people would get along with. So, quite good. Not really much more for me to say. I've kind of already told the thing that needs to be said. I can just re-summarize everything. But there's not really much else. Like I said, the only thing I need to remember for next time is that I have some PCs that I wanted to show up that so they'll have to later. I wanted them to have magic items, common rarity or lower. And I told them like I really don't want them to homebrew. I really don't want them to pull some homebrew stuff. I really want them to pull from the main game. Because that's kind of what this game is for. I already homebrew a ton of other things in my game, and I really want to just run for this one. See what the game is about. That should be fun. Pretty happy with Gareth, the ex-Inquisitor. I'm happy with Azarine, the secret mermaid. Which she didn't think was a secret. It just never came up in conversation. Because why would it? Brughild, the ex-rich dwarf. And Valerie, the traveling bard and adventurer who kind of is the neutralizing force. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be very enjoyable. I think that's going to be interesting, them just kind of like talking to each other. I'm going to try and make traveling interesting in this game. I've already put in... I said I didn't want to homebrew a lot, but I did do some homebrew that was like just to make long resting less useful. Because that way any damage that happens over the course of traveling isn't just immediately fixed. Like just by sleeping that night. They actually have to think about, do they want to take risks? Because in my mind, when they're it's just a rule for traveling, because when they're traveling, it's like how far do you get in a day, and that's kind of all that matters. And so it's like the day begins and ends with a long rest. So I made it so the homebrew rule I currently have is that you can't, when you're long resting, you usually recover half of your hit dies, your total hit die, and all of your HP and all of your spell slots. And so what I've changed is you don't recover HP. You only recover those other two things. And I thought that would make it more interesting, because then it's like you're recovering hit die, and now hit die matter more. And you're free to spend hit die on a long rest, and you recover half on a hit. Like, in theory, all you have to do is take 2 days off, and I just doubled how long it takes for you to recover HP. I want you to know, I'm seeing like 60% of the stream, so actually I have no idea what's going on, but I'm glad to be there. I appreciate it. Maybe I should not bother to have it on such a high bit rate if I'm only going to be streaming my beautiful, beautiful. If only I was like an affiliate or like of anything else of value to Twitch, so let me fucking change the source. Or let you change the source. I just didn't want to end up in a situation where like, but you were there. No. Nah. I'm not so crazy as to assume, even if you were here for 100% of it, I wouldn't assume that you remembered everything. Because I don't remember everything that I say. So I can't expect anyone else to remember everything that I say. In fact, I'd change the bit right now if I could, but it's midstream. I feel like if I'm going to end the stream. But yeah, that's my one homebrew rule, is I'm saying that you can't recover HP on a long rest. And the reason why is because when we're traveling, I then wanted people to be like, well, we could take the extra risk and go the faster route, but we might incur damage, and we don't just instantly get that healed when we take a long rest tonight. We'd have to expend some of our hit die. And if we get in a fight and we need a short rest, that's hit die that is shared between the two rests. Or when they wake up in the morning, it makes it so they have to consider, do I want to use one of a healing spell on you? Use one of my spell slots? Because spell slots, you do get all back at the end of a long rest. But that's even more dangerous, because that's spell slots you don't have if a fight breaks out. They don't know what's going to happen if they take certain. So the only homebrew rule I have right now is just to make travel more interesting. But I don't actually think it's going to impact the regular gameplay. Your 1993 internet power. Raw. Power of a dial-up motor. Incredible. Make sure you feed the hamster that's powering the generator for your house. I mean, your internet. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that rule goes. Ooh, they decided at the end of last session, after they escaped the town, and that one Emerald Knight blew up the bridge that they were on, and they fell into the water, and they got washed up downstream. They decided that they were only going to short rest, and that they were then going to just try and flee toward the next generation or destination is. I thought they would want to long rest afterwards. I thought that they would be like, well, let's just go into the forest and try to find someplace safe, and then long rest from. But instead they're like, no, we're just going to short rest and try to maintain speed and stay ahead, which is fine. It's smart in its own way, but it's dangerous because now they don't have as much health, have their spell slots back. The Warlock does. Warlock has the slots back. I'm pretty sure Warlocks get their spell slots back on a short rest. And this is going to be a game that short rest will actually matter. So that'll be interesting. But we can all find out together, because I plan on streaming it next session, and I'll lower the bitrate more, and I'll change the resolution, because there is no reason why this does not need to run at 180p, 60 FPS. I am not that good looking. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. They might change their mind and be like, oh, we do want a long run. They're probably going to try and wait until they're in a safe space, which they're not going to get. Now, that's the secret stuff for watching these behind-the-scenes videos. They're not going to get it safe. Not safe. Where they are currently is not safe, and I can't imagine a safe space being anywhere until they get to, like, civilization. Where they find, like, old fort or watchtower in the woods and basically, like, clear it out of whatever enemies are in it, and now they own it, and they just bed down for the night. But it's like, it's not safe. Like, Fort Dolahan is still right there, and there's still an army there, and Inquisitors are fleeing. There's people that were on boats trying to, like, get away as refugees. And, like, the army, the Dark-Eyed Prince's army, that is, it's this army that just showed up literally out of nowhere in the middle of the day. So when I describe this like it's a big bombshell, like, wait, you didn't mention anything about an army, it's like, that's how everyone else feels, too. They just showed up and laid waste to the town. There's a reason for it. There's a very intricate, detailed reason as to why they're doing that and how they did that. But that's a mystery for another day. But they're still out there. The Inquisitors are still right here. They're fleeing Fort Dolahan too. They're not alone in like their exodus from Fort Dolahan. So like, no, they're not safe. They're not gonna get a long rest anytime soon unless they can be clever about it. Dark-Eyed Prince is dead. Coconut art. He died 60 years ago. I will warn that the Dark-Eyed Prince is a reoccurring character in pretty much all my games. Basically, that's just the character that I use, who is this mysterious person that existed like forever ago, essentially, and did a lot of supposed bad things, and people had to oppose him. And so he's usually like the catalyst for a lot of things in my games. But yeah, he's dead. He's dead in all my games. I'm pretty sure he's toast in every single game I've ever run. He's always something that happened like way in the past. He's like the Napoleon Bonaparte kind of character. It's like he shaped modernity, but he's not alive anymore necessarily. Or is he? I mean, you guys saw an army that had his livery on it, his flags, and flew his standard. So that means whatever that means. Or at least his effects live on. But that'll be interesting. So it's like that. I'm looking forward to kind of what they do. It's going to be a lot of me improvising based around what they want to do. If they're like, we're going to go kind of like a old text-based adventure, where it's like, do you go north, south, east, or west? And each direction has something different to deal with. Maybe one of those is the direction that has nothing to deal with, and you are lucky, and maybe some planning is done or some investigation is done to see like what's the safest route. But that's kind of how this game is going to go. It's like, pick a cardinal direction, and I'll tell you what's there, and it's up to you to figure out how to deal with it. I think they just want to go to the nearest town, and the nearest town is a place to the north. Isn't an official town; it's just a settlement. So, kind of like a port city, essentially. But it's kind of like Tortuga, where like it only kind of exists on the map. So if that's where they want to go, that's fine, but that's going to shape the game. Like, for example, there's like probably 5 places they could go from here. They have a map, and they could try to pick like someplace more civilized, but it's farther away, and there might be stuff along the way that they just but I know that we're not quite done with the more story-oriented cutscene like things. So I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I get to roll my dice because I'm the DM. I make everybody roll on Roll20 otherwise, because it's just more fun for everybody to watch the dice roll together. That's half the magic. I'm glad that the party is together now. It took literally 7 hours of playing to get everyone together, but it felt satisfying. It felt good. Everyone feels solid. It doesn't feel like everyone trusts each other yet, but it feels like everyone has a reason to be like, yeah, I'm with you, or you're with me. Like, nobody has any reason to go off on their own, which is kind of how I wanted it to feel. I wanted the goals of the players and the characters to align in a natural way. I had to force, oh, well, my character wouldn't really do this, but I guess the DM wants me to go to the mountain. It's like, no, I want the story to invite your character to do that, not force that. And also getting together as a party, I wanted to be a similar experience. I think that I've succeeded. Yep. Brookhilde the Noble was exiled out of her family after she got discovered by and then subsequently arrested by the Inquisitor Gareth, the other player character, Purely Salty. And then both of them were framed for something that they didn't do when they went to the mountain to try and figure out what's going on alongside Valerie and Azurine. When the mountain turned out to be some kind of weird summoning ritual for a fucking dragon, and it killed people. People died. People died during that. I haven't gone into the details who yet because that'll come up. But then an army showed up, and it's like it's so crazy suspicious that the players would be on the chopping block within a day. It's that dog meme with Azarine and Valerie. I've only known this mermaid for 24 hours, but if anything would happen to her, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself. Maybe. I feel Valerie and Azarine are that close. They're pretty close because they had the advantage of going together to the mountain. So they did get the chance to fight. And Azarine and Valerie are like the more normal people, well adjusted. Well, I don't want to say anything. I'll spoil my own stuff, but I won't spoil player stuff. You won't do that. I know things. I know things. Other than, I'm gonna force them by Wednesday to come up with what uncommon items that they want. Uncommon items, by the way, are just stuff like healing potions. Like that's the level of magic that sort of is. Healing potions and like minor rings or gloves that like do some fun little effect, but they don't give you like an extra attack or something like that. It's just the best example is like healing potion, like 2d4 plus 2. Yay, that's pretty good, but it's not like game breaking. They're not like legendary items like a +1 sword. +1 swords are not uncommon, but an uncommon magic item is stuff like a flying broomstick. I think is uncommon. It's probably like the coolest uncommon thing there is. And I'd say some other examples, but the only reason I know them is because the players have told me that stuff in the context of they might want it, and I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil that. Yeah, you know, boots of speed I think are like rarity level, like they're rare. Like even that's like higher end material than common. Uncommon is like very low levels. I think the best low level items that are or best uncommon items, like they still just cast like level 1 magic, or they'll like give you resistance to like being charmed or something like that. Like you just get to roll your saving throw twice. Nothing crazy, which is why I felt very comfortable and about saying like every player can go pick an uncommon item from anywhere. Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, DM's Handbook, online, Tomb of Foes, Xanathar's Guide. I don't care. I really don't care where they get the items from. They can search anything if they have the opportunity. They just have to show it to me and prove that it's real. And I go and be like, all right, sure. So that'll be exciting. That's kind of the nice thing about doing normal D&D for the most part, as opposed to like my homebrew sci-fi fantasy game, is because I don't have to come up with anything. I don't have to come up with everything, rather. I don't have to be like... not that I mind. I actually quite enjoy coming up with the magical things in New Year, my sci-fi campaign, because I get to really let my imagination go wild and create items that fit for the setting and make it feel more real. But it's also, they both have merits. That's all I'm trying to say. It's nice to be able to be like, go, book. Choose from the book. I don't have to come up with it. I have enough stuff to write. It's nice. I would do it, but it's nice not to have to. They're besties. Are they besties with benefits? Oh, I'm getting DMs. All right, just memes. That's kind of it. I feel like my self critique is kind of just based around like I forgot some stuff. I should have wrote better notes on who I wanted to appear and when I wanted them to appear, instead of focusing so much on just the opening cutscene with like the rat catcher that I was going to be as the point of view character to introduce other player characters. I spent a lot of time writing that out, and I don't think I really needed to. I should have trusted my own improvisation skills more. I should have focused more on writing down notes that was more like like stage notes that were like, you know, enter this character now. Stuff like that. I wish I had like index cards. It's like kind of cycle through, because I feel like having a notebook is nice, but it's not as organized as it could be. I know it's like up to you to organize it yourself, but it's still like I have to flip through the pages, and it would be nice if every an index card is the nice right size and shape for like a room dungeon, for example. So I can be like, hey, and foyer, dungeon, hallway, treasure room. Have that all be on each index card. But like in a notebook, it's like that's too much space. Like a page is not needed for one room, so I can't just like flip through. Also, I don't want pages anyway. Have the index card laid out in front. I wish I'd done that. I wish I just focused more on keynote stuff rather than. I didn't really need script. I do routinely notice that my players are sort of like, oh, why don't you just tell me what my race is like, or just tell me like histories about? Because I think that they like. On the one hand, I can give myself the benefit of the doubt, and they like the content that I come up with. They like the stories that I tell. They think that my world is neat, and I'm happy that they think that way. But at the same time, it's like, if I were the player, I would feel like it's restricting, because I would want to write up. I would want to come up with my own like circle of religion, the sect that my paladin is from, and what they represent, and the god that they have. I kind of expected my players to do that too, but a lot of them were like, "No, you tell me. Like, tell me about the political. What does the Inquisition think about this character? Or like, what do how do Fae get treated in your world? Or like, what are some of the gods of the dwarves and stuff like that?" And they wanted to know that stuff from me. I don't know if that's a criticism though, because I don't know if I'm going to stop. I don't. As much as they're like, I wish. Oh, you should just tell me, and then I can fit in with the world better. And it's like, I like it when they come up with cool stuff. I'll always tell them if it's like, no, that's stupid, wouldn't fit. I've already done that already. But no, I'm usually pretty trusting of the players to come up with cool stuff, because I feel like people are better at being creative than they think they do. I think this is all just a matter of execution, and it's like they don't really need to worry about execution. They just need to come up with like the lore, and I'll figure out how to fit it in. I feel like it's how you fit it in that's kind of important bit. If they just did that, then fit the stuff pretty well. They'd probably be quite satisfied. I think they're kind of getting the hang of it, but I'm also kind of meeting it halfway. All right, well, here's some ideas of other stuff that I came up with. And I like my world. So, I don't think it's a problem. No, it's not a problem. Really a self-critique. Not even really a problem. I didn't end up changing the Ettin's stats during that final boss fight. I ended up, I was originally going to change them to make it easier, but then I realized that it actually was balanced. Ironically, I feel like I should trust the players more, and like even though I'm like they're gonna die, I should just trust that they'll be okay, and they pull out a lot of abilities that I didn't know existed to begin with, let alone that they had. So they did fine. I didn't need to nerf Ettin fight. That being said, since it's session literally 1, I would have if I needed to, because I don't want them all to get killed in the first session, but I did want to. I wanted to see what they were capable of. I wanted it to be a hard fight, and I wanted them to believe that they were, because they were in story, but really like the point of the fight was I needed to see what they were capable of going forward, so that I can now plan combat more appropriately. So that's pretty important. It's just like I needed a test run. I just need to give them some. So that's kind of why I'm like, yeah, maybe there's a little bit too much combat, too many combats, but it was a good way to gauge like everyone's power level, and everyone's pretty well balanced. Not that you can really have a balanced party in D. Not an MMORPG, not like Final Fantasy where like you have to have like a tank, 2 DPS, and a healer. Like that's not D&D's not balanced like that. It never was. I don't think it ever will be unless you want it to be. But there's no healer class. Not really. Like there's clerics who can heal, and they can be even the healing domain. But like they still have a mace. Like they still have weapons to use. They still have turn undead. They still have lightning bolts. Like everyone's kind of expected to DPS a little bit. And even like Barbarian has skills that are only useful outside of combat. Like stuff that's like, oh, you have advantage on intimidation checks and stuff. So the game's not really balanced. A balanced party. Everyone's kind of the same level of balance. But it is interesting to see how they, like, there is still that idea of how does the party interact. And how it is still balanced in its own way. It's just not, there's no ideal in my mind. There's no, like, ideal balanced party. It's just every party is balanced differently. And as the DM, I kind of have to figure out how it's balanced. And then once I do, it's, okay, well, now it's the DM's job to, you know, challenge the party. Create drama. Tension. And I think we did good. It helps I've been DMing for like 3 years at this point. Learn everything every day. Always learning something new. Important to stay hydrated. It says I have 4 viewers right now. I don't have more to say without repeating myself. And I don't think there's any more content to discuss until we play again. What does me mean? That, oh yeah, I mean you're. I don't know who is here. There's 4 people, users in chat. Yeah, I don't know. But it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I hope people will come for Thursday. I think everyone. There was a little apprehension at first because people were playing with new people that they've never played with before, let alone even met. And so people were a little worried just because it's hard to meet new people, and I understand. But I think it went well. Otherwise, we wouldn't have played for 7 hours. So I think everyone's pretty happy. Like, oh, that was great, and like, I think people are kind of like, okay, the Gray is okay. He'll take care of us. The DM is pretty all right. He'll handle the quality control. He'll make it a good content. It's just we use guys. Everyone else just kind of has to show up and just do what their character would do. And enjoy, and react in appropriate ways. And everyone kind of has an idea of what's dramatic, but I'm not expecting the players to be dramatic. I don't want any of them to pick what's the more dramatic thing to do in the moment. I want them to pick what their character would do, and I want them to feel like they're problem solving and being clever, and playing a game. Yeah, you're just happy. I know, I hate characters who are just happy to be here. Yeah, so players just showing up, good time. My hair just looks gold, light, and I love it, but at the same time, it's very inaccurate. All the green in my hair reacting. I'll kill you. No, this is also going to be a kill happy campaign. It's going to be one of those cases where it's like that you fight are whatever level they are in the monster manual, and tough luck. Win. I have like DMing. D&D is also meant to be one. Like, there's no point in the Dungeon Master's Handbook that's like, and now you kill them. Like, it's like, I'm pretty sure everyone will live. That's the idea. The idea is that you'll live. But, like, maybe Valerie will take a bad step one day, and it's just one thing after another that leads to the eventual end. I hate it when dice kill characters. Like, oh, I just rolled bad and now I'm dead. I would rather, if anyone's gonna die, I think it's gonna be the result of, like, decisions or, like, pissing off the wrong person. It's gonna be, like, the result of RP. I mean, it's still gonna be the result of combat, but it's gonna be the result of, like, you guys got in over your head, or, like, you bit off more than you could chew. Like, there was active decisions that led people to the point, not necessarily, I don't want anybody to get killed by a critical failure, necessarily. I mean, that might be the thing that finally does you in, but I don't like it when they're responsible solely for the death of a character. I feel like it's very anticlimactic. But I won't go out of my way to save people. Be up to everyone else. And there'll be situations where it's like they could get over their heads. They don't realize what situation they're in, and I can't pull any punches. All I can really say is I'm going to make a bunch of characters and factions. They will be whatever level they are. They will want whatever it is they want. And if the players get in their way and they're not able to handle the repercussions of getting in their way, then that's going to be when people die. And I think that that's fine. I think that'd be very climactic. And I expect that that person would then reroll a character and jump right back in. And it would be good. And on Thursday, I think I don't know, if there's anybody, if I have any power over this chat at all, I would request one thing, and that's if anybody was going to be here on Thursday and they weren't already playing the game, they wanted to watch, would it be better if I kept this, like, should I be visualable? Because I feel like I should, because I feel like there'd be a lot more entertainment value in seeing the DM DMing, doing his funny voices, and also being able to see me reacting to the stupid shit that the players do. If you are smaller screen. Are you sure? Because it's like, what am I really blocking? What happens over here in this corner that is... Oh, this is the game now. You fight me, I'm the boss. I'd be like that big. Because where does the field? Usually like dice land over here. At least on my screen. I have a feeling it's up to resolution. But I imagine dice are gonna end up there. And I want to be able to write notes on my whiteboard. People see. You are a smaller screen. Like half size that webcam, not that small. So for the love of Christ. Alright, I've stopped playing with it. I feel like this is where battle maps, I can't. I would like to, but there's so many reasons why I can't. One is copyright. Like I can't just go online and start Googling shit and stealing it and putting it on. Second is please just draw. Second is I don't have time. At least not all the time. I would be more than happy to get just like a basic grid out and then let players just put their icons on the field. To be honest, that's kind of what I was already doing. I was just using this map of the world as the battle mat. I didn't think that people had a problem with it, to be honest with you. Because this is just a map of Winthrow, and I would just drag out the players onto the field whenever they needed to fight, and I'd put them where they are, and then I'd draw the box of wherever it is that they're fighting in. But I can stop using the map as the background. I just thought it looked cool. Like my own grid paper in real life, or do you mean on a Roll20 grid? Because it's like, you'd rather have a blank background? All right, I mean, if one of the players has a problem with it, then stop doing it. I'll just make a new page. That's just like battle place. Oh yeah, I gotta delete these. That was back from a test that I can't use them. But yeah, there's copyright. There's time. That's kind of the two biggest things right there. Is that like I can't just Google Maps online to use. I don't have time to kind of make my own. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to plot out a dungeon necessarily to explore through. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm kind of going to be trapped to theater of the mind. When we get in combat, I'll bust out the grid, because I'm totally fine with grid-based combat. But yeah, if you want it to just be a blank background, then I'm fine doing that. We can move from the... Oh, I like to make the overmaps, because the overmaps, I don't have any more time to do the overmaps than I would with regular maps. It's just that they get more longevity out of them, so I don't have to make as many. I might make overmaps for provinces and stuff like that. But then when you guys get in fights, yeah, I guess I'll just switch to the generic blank background and then kind of quickly doodle out what the background is. Like there's a bookshelf over here. But I hope people are ready more. Be kind of just doing theater of the minds part. Unfortunately, kind of the content that I have. But yeah, I don't mind just doing I'll do it right now. Make an untitled one. That's what do we like? White? Do we like classic white as the background? That's the classic D&D color. Make it 50 by 50. Base. But yeah, I don't mind just having I'll just have this grid. I would do the same thing in real life. I'm trying to make this as real life as possible, and in real life I'd probably just have the overmap, and then when people got into combat, I would just get out like a whiteboard that had a grid on it, and I would dry erase the local area, and I can do that. But that's kind of all I can. Like underneath Mount Orion, I'm not gonna be able to map it out. Roll 20, unfortunately. Have to be the mind, and also have to get better at descriptions. But I think I'm okay. I've done a lot of writing in my time, so I think I'm okay. I think everyone seemed to be pretty happy with it. It could have been better. But it's a self-critique. I'm still not quite sure what's the best way to describe directions to players. North, south, east, or west is very accurate, but I always feel like players end up being like, "What was west again?" Or like, what? So maybe I can still improve. So maybe I should just say left, right, up, or down, forward or back, rather. As they spin, I'll just. Yeah, they're okay. Coconut mixes up east and west all the time. It should have a compass rose. There should be a compass rose somewhere on this map. By the way, this map, I think it's okay for me to use. This is a map generated with a website called Incarnate. It's incarnate, but with ink on the beginning, like ink as in you draw with or write with pen. And it lets you draw where the land is and color it with like different colors of grass, and then it gives you some props to place like mountains, trees, icon, like capital icon cities and stuff like that. It's very nice. It's I don't think I could make a battle mat out of it. I don't even know if I could make a local town out of it, but I felt like it did a very good job with continents. Like country-sized thing. Although it did a great job. I'm quite satisfied with what we have here. Yeah, when we do combat, I'll switch over to it. Grid. I feel like combat's gonna happen a lot. I feel like at least every other session there's gonna be a combat, if not every session. Probably just every other session. That's just the kind of game we're running. You guys are on the run. The world's very wide. A lot of this space isn't. Something else that's going to be hard to get the players to trust in, because it's a case of me misleading them, is the case of the fact that the map that I'm giving them is not accurate. Like, it's just not an accurate map of the world. There's stuff that is in the world that does not appear on the map. And there's stuff that appears on the map that's not in the world. And distances are not accurate all the time. And like how far they can get through one place is not as going to be cut and dry as just, oh, I want to go there on the map. Because there might be things in the way that aren't on the map. And like, for example, like on this map, there's 3 big rivers. But that's like, there's way more rivers than that. There's hundreds of rivers, thousands maybe, running through this continent. But I only put like the major rivers on. Because first of all, there's only so much detail that I can get to on the website Incarnate. But then I also want everyone to have that kind of feeling of exploration and discovery. And not everyone knows what's in the world, and there's going to be stuff that appears on the map that's not in the world, and vice versa. So right now, like I said, they're in the area right here. I think I said they're like right here, but that's kind of misleading. What I should say is just that they're in the marsh that appears on that map. And they're not really sure exactly where. I just kind of picked a random bank. But when we pick up, I might even have to automatically just say like, hey, I am retconning the situation. I'm inform you guys. Yeah, you're somewhere in that marsh on that map, but you don't know where. Not exactly. Where of the cardinal directions? You know, like, oh, if I go north, eventually I'll hit the ocean. But they don't know exactly where. Part of that's a DM tool. Because there's some stuff that I need to be able to fit in. If players are like calculating exactly how long it's going to take to get from one place to another, then they notice that like, oh, it took us 5 minutes longer, or like whatever. This is it's just an obstacle for everyone. It's an obstacle for me. It's an obstacle for the players. Like, it doesn't improve the situation. Ironically, the game would be more fun if they didn't know exactly where they were. And I really shouldn't have tried to pinpoint an exact location for them anyway. Unrealistic location. It's like, that's really far for a maid to have traveled. They're probably more like right there, like right at the bridge. They're technically just in the next hex over. Just because the bridge marked the boundary point. But it's stuff like that. I just have to give and take. It's like, the DM makes mistakes. DM shouldn't have been so hasty to try and give them the exact location. DM should have been like, you don't know. So, they don't really know. I never really gave them an exact location, but straightforward and tell them. And who knows what's in the swamp? Anything lurking just beneath the surface of the waters. Alright, I think I'm losing followers, or I'm losing viewers at this point, which I think means that it's getting late, people are going to bed, and I don't have any more to say, because I'm just kind of repeating myself, so I'm going to get going. I think I've talked about everything I need to talk about. I feel like self-reflection is very important for this game. To become a better DM, I think I'm okay. But, complacency is the enemy of progress. So I'm going to end it. And next time I'm going to stream is going to be Thursday night. Between 6 and 7 we're starting. I think I'm going to stream my face. It seems like the general consensus is stream the face. I'm going to lower the bit rate, so hopefully anybody can join. This is not high-end gameplay we don't have good graphics here. And like I said, I'm not that good looking, so we do not need to have high super resolution. Yeah, and we'll do this again. If I had it my way, I'd stream the game, and then I would later, a few days later, stream my postmortem of that game. Where I talked about kind of what happened, what I thought was good, what I thought was bad. So hopefully I'll do this again, make it a regular thing. And if anybody had any questions about the game, I don't think that I'm gonna have an issue if the players themselves want to come in and do these streams. I don't think I'm ever gonna say anything that they don't already know or that them to know. I don't mind them. As long as they understand that, like, whenever I'm self-critiquing, I'm not being self-deprecating, not like hating on the game or something like that. It's just I just want to improve, and that was good, that was bad. Then yeah, they're welcome to join, and if they even want to ask questions, I might even be able to probably not maintain their verisimilitude. So I'm gonna go end it. Farewell. Godspeed. Thank you for joining. Bye bye.